And welcome to another RSR. Tonight we are recapping the conference quarterfinals and predicting the conference semifinals of the 2024 MLS Cup Playoffs. Some crazy upsets throughout these 3-game series. And they saved the biggest one for last. Reacción de la cuartos de final de la conferencia y predicción de la conferencia semifinales de la MLS. We will start with Western Quarterfinal 4, LA Galaxy 2, Colorado Rapids 0. I got this one right. The Galaxy went and whipped up on the Rapids over 2 matches. It didn't even take that much of a sweat. What the LA Galaxy went and did was absolutely unsurprising, sort of. They were convincing. Very convincing for a football team that nobody really expected to be as strong as what they were. And also the fact they had bottled decision day horribly in the last minute against Houston in Houston. They woke up and said, nah, we can't let that happen again. Colorado fought hard, but the LA Galaxy scored, and scored more. Simple. I was right about this one. 1-0 on my predictions. 1 for 1. Western Quarterfinal 3, Real Salt Lake 0, Minnesota United FC 2. I was wrong about this one. Minnesota United FC didn't play the best tie, but they won on penalties twice. Real Salt Lake could not find an answer. To be fair, a big, good answer. They could not find anything of anything in this match or these matches. The thing about Real Salt Lake is I'm not surprised, to be fair, that they lost this tie. They were starting to fall off as the season went on. They started very hot. They kind of St. Louis, sort of. They started very hot. They got worse and worse as the season went on. Chicho got colder and colder. And the bad thing for them is they fell to 3rd place. Unlike St. Louis, who still was top of the West somehow throughout the whole season last year and then got bounced because of it. Oh, Miami got St. Louis too. Oh, okay. I was wrong about this one. Minnesota, they found a way. They won on penalties. Dane St. Clair was amazing in net, especially during the shootouts. I was wrong about this one. 1-1 on my predictions. 1 for 2 on my predictions. Eastern Quarterfinal 4, Columbus Crew 0, New York Red Bulls 2. Red Bulls win the series. First one they won outright in Columbus. Second game, they won on penalties, but they played very well in both matches. They won in Columbus and won on penalties at Red Bull Arena, which, shocking it went that way, that order. You would think they would have won on penalties at Columbus and then won outright at Red Bull Arena, but it doesn't matter. They won. They swept the MLS Cup champions, the defending MLS Cup champions. They swept away. Red Bulls are for real, especially with Forsberg. Forsberg is starting to play like he should. They lost Frankie Amaya, sadly. They couldn't figure it out, to be fair, against some other teams when Forsberg was injured. Amaya was gone. But once Forsberg came back, they were on fire. They've been on fire. The Red Bulls have. And they deserve to win this. The way they've played, they deserve to win this tie. Simple as. I was wrong about this one. 1 and 2 on my predictions. 1 for 2 on my predictions. Western Quarterfinal 2. We have Seattle Sounders FC 2. Houston Dynamo FC 0. Seattle beat the hell out of the Dynamo. They won on penalties game 1. They won outright game 2. Hector Herrera lost his damn head. Hawked to it at the referee. Ruined that for Houston. Seattle offensively weren't too good. They were good enough. Were they too good? No. They did what they were somewhat supposed to do. And you look at it and you say, okay, not great for Seattle, but they did their job. Do I think they have a chance in hell against LAFC? No. said, but Vancouver played them tight. Sure, I don't think Seattle's that good. Offensively, especially. Vancouver is an offensive juggernaut, to be fair. Seattle's more of a park-the-bus team. It's a 90-minute game, maybe 120. Denny Bouanga's still running down your throat. Mateusz Bogusz is still running down your throat. We'll get there, though. That's the second half of this video. But I was right about this one. Seattle won 2-2 on my predictions. 2 for 4 on my conference quarterfinal predictions. Western quarterfinal 1, LAFC 2, Vancouver Whitecaps FC 1. Game 1 and 3 in LA for LAFC. They lost game 2 in Vancouver. Vancouver fought hard throughout all 3 games. They really did. And LAFC were sort of stymied by Vancouver, and Vancouver definitely had their moments throughout the tie. Sadly enough, LAFC are still LAFC. That's simple. Bouanga only had 1 goal. Bogusz had his moment. So you look at it, you say, okay, interesting. But LAFC still did what they needed to do. It may not have been pretty, it may not have been great, but it was good enough. 3-2 on my predictions, 3 for 5. Eastern quarterfinal 3, FC Cincinnati 1, New York City FC 2. I told you this would happen. I was right. NYCFC knock out Cincinnati. They lose game 1. They win game 2 in New York. They win on penalties in Cincinnati. It was an ugly penalty shootout. It was not good at all. But I told you NYCFC would win. I told you Cincinnati were fraudulent. I saw it coming a mile away. What happened? NYCFC have advanced. I was right about this one. I will gloat about this one. I don't know why you don't think Cincinnati are frauds. Some of you don't. They are. They have been for a while. I do not trust them until I can trust them, which means they have to do something. So I'll probably pick against them during the playoffs, and once they win the MLS Cup, people are like, oh, you were doubting us. Well, they got to show me they could do it. They didn't. Get a striker. NYCFC, damn good game. They're tough. I was right about this one, though. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out of 6. 4-2 on my predictions. 4 out of 6. Eastern quarterfinal 2, Orlando City SC 2, Charlotte FC 1. Charlotte won at home, but they lost both in Orlando. I was right about Orlando advancing. Orlando was just slightly better than Charlotte. It wasn't beautiful. It wasn't great, but it was good enough for Orlando. They slinked their way through. Amazing penalty shootout comeback by Yepez. The second game, they lost a shootout to Charlotte. The third game, they stepped up and said, no, we can't do that again. And they just were nails. They were nails in game 3. But was it pretty for Orlando? No, it was not pretty at all. But they did their job. I was right about this one. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-2 on my predictions. 5 out of 7. And then, Eastern quarterfinal 1, Inter Miami CF 1, Atlanta United FC 2. I was wrong. I think everybody was wrong about this one. I ain't the only one. Miami got owned by Atlanta. They won game 1, lost 2 and 3, and they never had a chance, honestly. Atlanta had a lot of comeback ability. 1. Second of all, Brad Guzan stood on his head. Third of all, the defense did their job most of the time. Messi only scored 1 goal. Suarez was crying. He did more crying than scoring. Jordi Alba's crying right now. And no, 1v1 should not be the MLS Cup final. You know how I know? You lost to Atlanta over 3 games. They were the 9 seed. They were the last team in the playoff. And you lost to them. Last team in, no joke. All the Eastern teams, all the Western teams were in by decision day. The reason the Timbers made it is because they knew they were in. They did draw Seattle. But if it had to be played out, I don't know if it would have went the way it did. They probably wish it was the case. You were the last team in, Atlanta, and you beat the best team in MLS history. My ass. Who has a treble? Oh, right. Yeah, it's still Toronto. 2017 Toronto. They may be closer to the shittiest team in MLS history right now, but they still have 2017. And nobody is better than that 2017 Toronto team until they win a damn treble. I don't care about freaking points records. I don't care about shields. I don't care about shields and MLS Cups. Hell, Miami only got one of the three. They ain't. You lose to a 9 seed. No, you're not the best team in MLS history. Over 3 games. Now you say, but Toronto almost lost to Red Bull over a 2-legged tie. They won on away goals. Yeah, were they a 9 seed though? They were a pretty damn solid team that year. Toronto got it done though. Stop. Just, hey, if you want to cry, keep crying, but y'all are a joke, Miami. You got to just grin and bear it. Fairly enough. I was wrong about this one, but everybody was. I was 5 out of 8 on my predictions for the quarterfinals, conference quarterfinals. 5 and 3, which, I mean, there you go. Let's move on to the conference semifinal predictions. We'll start with the East. We'll go to the West. In the East, we have Atlanta United FC going to Orlando to play Orlando City SC. Orlando City SC contra Atlanta United FC. I'm going to say I got Atlanta winning. I have Atlanta beating Orlando on the road. I do. Why? Because Orlando aren't that great offensively. Miami, to their credit, did go band for band with Atlanta. It's not like Atlanta beat the hell out of them and stonewalled them completely. It was a 3-2 loss in Miami. Miami was just 1 goal short. They were 1 goal ahead game 1, 1 goal short on the other 2. And if you look at the aggregate, well, there you go, right? Probably 1 goal behind. Orlando can't score like that. Duncan McGuire threw out his shoulder. He does have 2 weeks to rest, but will he play? I don't know. Facundo Torres don't look like the Facundo Torres who lit the league afire. Ramiro Enrique, he's okay. Luis Muriel ain't done what I expected him to. So, Orlando's offense is trash. Their defense is good. Gallese sort of recovered a bit in form. But Atlanta can score. Guzan, if he stays hot, I think he will. He ain't going to go back to being trash again. I don't think so. I think Guzan will stay hot. That back line was pretty damn good. It's 4 games. That's not really that small of a sample size anymore. I think he'll stay hot. Let's not forget, the Montreal game, he was pretty hot too. This isn't too much of a shock. The forward line, Sabalop Janitze, Alexi Moranchuk, Jamal Tiare, when Jande Silva comes on, my God, they could score. And Orlando, they could get behind. They could get behind Miami. I mean, Orlando ain't much better at the back. You don't expect them to be better, though, because they're Orlando, but I think Atlanta could get behind there. I got Atlanta going through. New York City FC versus New York Red Bulls. They're going to Citi Field. Oh, my God. I hope Grimace is sitting in his seat. I hope. But I got NYCFC winning. Just like the Mets. Out of nowhere. They got in. They're going to make a run. They're playing at Citi Field. And this time they don't got to play a team like the Dodgers. They just have to play a team at their level if they get to the Conference Semifinals. I guess the MLS Cup would be Dodgers level. But NYCFC goes through. to the conference semis. I think they are a very well-played team right now. Alonso Martinez is on fire. Maxi Morales is getting back to what it used to be. Santi Rodriguez is playing damn well. They got a good team. They got a very good team. Matt Freese is on fire right now in goal. New York Red Bulls, I think NYCFC can shut them down defensively. Forsberg, if they keep him tight, I think they can. Oh, by the way, they're playing on a bowling ball pitch. The bowling alley once again. So, Red Bulls have had trouble with that. A lot of teams do. NYCFC. If this was Red Bull Arena, it might be a little bit different, but NYCFC. Western Conference, LAFC versus the Seattle Sounders. LAFC contra Seattle Sounders. LAFC goes through. I don't care if they were unconvincing against Vancouver. Seattle offensively is not as good as Vancouver is. And defensively, yeah, they might be able to park the bus, but you still have Denny Bouanga running down your throat. You still have Mateusz Bogusz running down your throat. You still have Olivier Giroud getting in good positions because he really can't run, but he could get in good positions. I don't know about you, but that sounds like LAFC winning against Seattle again to me. LAFC did the conference final. LA Galaxy versus Minnesota United FC. LA Galaxy contra Minnesota United. I got the Galaxy winning because if they beat the shit out of the Rapids, honestly, Minnesota United don't have a chance in hell. Again, they snuck through on penalty shootout wins. LA Galaxy will rip them to shreds at Dignity Health Sports Park. They will. They will. It's that simple. Probably 3 or 4-0. There's not going to be a question of how that goes. So the conference finals in my book, the Eastern Conference Final is New York City FC versus Atlanta United FC. NYCFC contra Atlanta United FC. Western Conference Final, LAFC versus the LA Galaxy. LAFC contra LA Galaxy, El Trafico. Western Conference Final. The weekend of Thanksgiving for both those matches. Of course, this is the week before is the conference semis. But we'll have some fun with it. Interested to see how these go. Looks like an LA team in my book will go to MLS Cup. And we possibly could have another LA versus New York final. With that being said, though, there you go. If you like this video, like it, share, subscribe. You know what it is. Tell your friends. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification one. Subscribe. Send chats on the live streams. Comment on this video. Put this in playlist. Share with friends and family. All that great stuff. Tomorrow, I will re-predict the quarterfinals of the 2024-25 CONCACAF Nations League. We will retouch on those predictions. Talk about those quarterfinals. I think we'll leave it at quarterfinals. Nothing's really changed except for a couple of things. So we have to touch on them again. But right now, I think we're good. We'll just leave it at quarterfinal re-predictions. With that being said, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm Ryan and I'm out. Peace. See ya.